Now, the last example of this graphing stuff, we got to deal with negatives in front of this thing. A negative in front of your base is going to flip the whole thing over. So instead of going up the hill, it's now going to go down the hill, okay? So with this problem right here, let's do the X and Y table just to see what's going to happen. And let's just plug in like 3 points just to see what we should already be able to figure out on our own. If we plug in a -1 right there, I'll do it down here. You got -3 to the -1 plus 1. That's going to be 1 over -3 plus 1, which is going to be 2/3. Okay? So that's 2/3. If you plug in a 0, that's going to be -3 to the 0 plus 1. Remember, 3 to the 0, I got to do this first, exponent first. That negative is not included in the exponent. So that's going to be -1 plus 1, which is 0. Okay? So now it's going to the point 0, 0. And the last one is -3 to the 1 plus 1. That'd be a -3 plus 1, which is -2. So if you plot these points, and then we'll figure out if we can see what actually happened here. If you plug these points in, you got -1, 2/3. You got 0, 0, and you got 1, -2. Looks like this. And if you think about this, the picture is going to end up looking something like this. Now, what actually happened? Well, if you ignore that it's got a negative there and draw the original function, and ignore the plus 1 for now, that original function would have gone through 0, 1 and gone uphill because the 3 is bigger than 1. Okay? The plus 1 would then take everything up 1 unit, so it would look like this. And remember, it would also have that asymptote at 1 because everything moved up 1. The last thing you do is that negative right there, which takes that second one and flips it over. And because it was 1 above the asymptote there, it's now 1 below the asymptote there. So it flips it down like that. So to draw this, if you're going to sketch the graph of this, I'll do it on the bottom of this page right here. And you've got h of x equals -3 to the x plus 1. If you're going to draw this, first things first, start off at 0, 1, and know the picture starts this way. Move the plus 1 tells you to move the whole thing up 1 unit, including the asymptote, which is now at 1, because that negative is going to flip it over the asymptote. The distance from here to the asymptote is now the distance below the asymptote. And because it's getting really close to the asymptote over here, it's getting really close to the asymptote here and then taking off like that. Okay? And that's how easy that picture is to draw.